I play this jazz teacher who's sort of stuck, happily stuck, but still stuck in a job where he's teaching jazz, which is a sort of a throwback of a trade. And when it comes to musical trade, he's teaching jazz to his little his little kids in school, and he still has hopes and dreams of finally becoming that great jazz musician. And there's this big gig that's coming up, and he wants to go play for it. And he finally goes and auditions, and he gets lost. And for musicians or anybody out there, when you get lost in your craft, he's just in his thing, auditioning, no nerves. He just went, and they said, wow, you're great. You will have the gig. Finally, your life will be right. He runs out the door like everything is great. And as soon as he runs out the door, he falls into a manhole, and his whole life and afterlife changes. 22 is I would say, lack of a better word, not cynical, but it's like, doesn't really see the reason to enjoy this earth thing. And so she's a person that needs to be convinced. She's been, for lack of a better word, stuck in this delightful limbo for a while, and just, hasn't met the right person to tell her the right things to make her understand how life on Earth could be. And so she's a tough cookie, played by Tina Fey, wonderfully. You got the talented Tina Fey, who's just, come on. That her mind and the way she works is amazing. And plus, she's a writer as well. She started out as a writer, and being on Saturday Night Live. So just to be able to sort of go back and forth, even when we weren't in the same room with each other. We was only in the same room a couple of times, but just being in her presence, man, made everything, elevated. Powers and Doctor, man, the powerful doctors. What was great about them? The way they compliment each other. It was like, as we were going through the script, they would try this and try that. It was never like, man, if you don't do that, then, we're going to break it down. It was really like complimentary, and it seemed like they had a great hold on everything. And, and Doc, this is his thing. So, and then it was the good challenging part of it is to make it animated. Because, you're going to talk, and then I guess they would call it the animated sweet spot when you say it the right way that sounds like, oh yeah, that's animation. It's the incredible Pixar, you know what I mean? The way the way they think 4, 5, 6 dimensional. That's, I mean, you think about it. The movies that have come before, when they deal with these types of subject matters, are really open up different sides of your head.
I play Dorothea Williams, and I am a female lead of a jazz quartet. And I am about that, seriously. I am a consummate professional. I've traveled the world. I've been to many places, but it's always about bringing music and joy, I think, to audiences around the world. And whenever she's looking to bring someone new into the band, she has high standards that they must meet. She's about not only the music, the artistry, but she's also about the presentation to the audience. So you better have a suit, you better be on time, and you better take the audience there. And by there, that means transport them. Oh, Joe is, oh gosh, he is so enamored of Dorothea. He recognizes what a great musician she is. He recognizes the opportunity that's before him. He knows he better not mess up, that this may be a one-time thing, that this was a gift that literally landed in his lap, that sort of was orchestrated from years previous, because Joe, was actually the mentor, the middle school teacher of this drummer, one of his students who's a drummer, who, because of his artistry, and wound up in Dorothea's band. And this particular day, someone falls out, and it's time for the understudy to go on. So Joe has to come in and make the drummer, his students, has vouchsafed for him. So he has to come in and prove that, he can do what his student Curly said he could. Curly talked Joe up, evidently, to Dorothea in a big way. So for Curly to remain in Dorothea's good graces, Joe has got to hit the bullseye. He's got to hit the mark. He can't miss a note. Well, Jamie Foxx plays Joe Gardner, and Jamie is just so quick-witted, and he's so fast on his feet. So he's brought just a lot of character, a lot of warmth to Joe. And in the course of the stories, this, different characters take over different bodies, and but you just enjoy following Jamie in all his machinations in whatever way he shows up.
I play Paul, who we meet in a local barbershop, and Paul is sort of your classic hater. Really feels better if you are feeling worse, right? So he makes it kind of his personal mission to bring down Joe, particularly on this one day. But due to part of this madcap sort of soul caper mishap, Paul really gets put in his place in one of the more disturbing and funny scenes I've ever witnessed in a cartoon. Joe is genuinely a nice guy, I think, but he's feels stuck. Joe's been working as a teacher for so long, which is a really hard job, and it's pretty thankless a lot of the time. And I think when he was younger, he had dreams of being a successful jazz musician. And so it's just a different life that he's living than he saw for himself. And I think, like a lot of us, he's getting older and not sure where the time went, and kind of lamenting that. So there's a building frustration within Joe. Everybody knows Jamie is one of the most talented humans in the world, and and we know him as being hilarious, and he is. He's genuinely one of the funniest people, and just he can sing like crazy. He's an incredible songwriter and an incredible actor. This was something I'd never seen him do before. The Joe feels so real, and so grounded and so lived in, and the vocal choices he's making are so subtle and affecting, and just so honest, and it really was for me, even as someone who's a huge fan of Jamie's work, like it was, it made me even a bigger fan. He's really, it's really stunning what he's done with this role. Oh man, I think it's just a really fun movie, and it's kind of like sensory overload in a lot of ways. It's so gorgeous to look at. The music is insane. It's like nothing else I've heard before. So that's in there too. Obviously, like two of the funniest people in the world are voicing the two main characters. So, you know, and getting to watch Tina Fey and Jamie Foxx play off each other is like a gift. And it's super, super funny. And there's so many great other characters in the film. Phylicia Rashad is in here, like, my God, you know, she's amazing. Yeah, it's just, it's really, really fun. And like, yeah, you're probably gonna cry at some point, but because Pixar movies always do that to me. But most of the ride is super fun. And there's lots of great, just like little, you're gonna wanna watch it a lot of times, I think, 'cause there's so many little Easter eggs and things that you'll miss the first time. One-liners that go by really fast. Like it's just great. It's really great storytelling, and it's a lot of fun.
The story of Soul is about a man named Joe Gardner, who is a middle school band teacher, but aspiring jazz pianist by night, who finally gets his big break, thinking that that's going to change his life forever, and then has an accident that causes his soul to leave his body and almost go to the great beyond. And so he is trying to get back into his body and back to his life. I play a character named 22, who is a soul that's never been born, because even though the people in the great before have been trying to convince her, she's had a lot of mentors trying to convince her that life is great and she should go live on Earth, she is very suspect of it. She thinks it sounds scary, painful, difficult, depressing, smelly. She just doesn't want any part of it. And she is Joe's chance. If he can kind of convince her to go back, then maybe he'll get a chance to go back also. Jamie Foxx plays Joe Gardner, and he's incredible in the movie because, one, he's a really great actor, but also because he is a musician himself. All the parts of Joe's character that are tied to his love of music just feel really authentic and connected coming from Jamie, and he's just super expressive with his voice. What the movie is telling us and what Joe learns is that there's more to living life than achievement. Which is a really interesting thing to try to take in. You know, there's just being present and being in the world and making connections and having feelings. There's more to life than checking boxes of things you've wanted to achieve. 22 learns from Joe that it is the small things in life that make life worth living, that you don't have to have an epic life to be a person of value and a person who has lived a full life. And I think that Joe learns from 22 to kind of pause and look around and see what he does have in his life and think less about what he wishes he had.